Hello everyone, my name is Kirill. Today we're going to look at an interesting topic, args and kwargs. All beginners who reach this topic and encounter these two concepts, well, they only understand them halfway. What are args and kwargs? When you first see this, when you're just starting out, you usually encounter it in its original form, in the context of functions. Args and kwargs are actually just conventional names. In reality, they refer to the asterisk and double asterisk. These asterisks indicate how we handle our parameters. Our args is an array of positional arguments from our list. So if we pass a list and array, whatever you prefer to call it, if we pass, for example, just values separated by commas like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, all of that gets combined into a single list. If we send positional arguments, for example, we have name Kirill or another name, age, and something else, this gets formed into an object. Well, actually, not exactly an object. That's not quite the right term. In Python, it gets formed into a dictionary. We simply put all of this into a dictionary. We have a key, we have a value, and then we work with it. And if we call this now, let's write it out. And when we call it, actually, again, these two names are just conventional. Here, it's important to pay attention and understand that a single asterisk means we're working with a lister, well, a list or array, whichever term you prefer. So if we pass arguments separated by commas and with a double asterisk, we're working with keys and values. Let's call all of this like so. That is the function itself. Here, for example, we'll pass in 4 and 5. Then we'll pass the name as Kirill and the age as, say, 50. Let's call it. We see that everything has been formed into a tuple. Here we've created a tuple, but we could also create an array or list, whatever is more convenient. And here we've created our dictionary. We have a key and we have a value. From here, we can work with it further. But again, if we try to access name well, it's not quite correct to do it this way. It should be done either using get. So let's check. We see that we've got our Kirill, and this is how it looks. Generally, when people cover this topic, that's usually where they stop, right? They don't go any further. But what is this in more detail? That's what I'm going to explain now. So where do we start? I think that everyone who has worked with arrays, lists, objects, and so on understands that everything is passed by reference. We have a reference, for example, we have a variable, and we assign it an array with 1, 2, 3, and then we have variable b. And if we reassign our, well, now I want to promote my Telegram channel in the description. There you can see all the video announcements and additional information. We also hold various polls there about which videos will be released, what we're working on, and maybe some extra activities that come up there. We also sort all of that out there. You can submit your project for review, sign up for a mock interview, and things like that. So check out the description, go to the Telegram channel, and subscribe. A list otherwise, we'll just get a link. So in the case where we add, or rather any values to our b, they will also be added to a. Naturally, that's not very good, and we need to protect against it. We need to make a copy using our args and kwargs. Well, to be precise, with the asterisk and double asterisk, we can achieve the behavior where everything works properly and correctly. So we'll simply do it as follows. We'll use our double brackets and apply our args only to our a. What does the syntax look like here? We unpack our a, meaning we take our array and simply turn it into 1, 2, 3 and wrap them in parentheses. In this way, we get our new variable, our new reference to b. That is, it doesn't depend on a in any way. It's our separate variable. It's a reference value to which we can add absolutely anything without any problems. Let's try this. Let's append, say, 7 to b, then print b and print a. Let's see what it looks like. We can see that everything was added. If we do it differently, for example, if we write it with our asterisks, we see that the addition happens exclusively in our b, and it doesn't affect this one at all. A is now a different variable because here we have changed our reference. It works in exactly the same way with our dictionaries as well, just as you would expect. So if we write Kirill here, okay, let's type out Kirill in this field end. Then over here, we also write our Kirill again, just to make sure it's consistent. Now in this next section, let's say we assign our variable a, and right here, we write b age to represent the age of b. For the value, let's put 50 here as an example, just to illustrate how it works. After setting all of this up, we go ahead and call or execute everything we've written so far, and then we take a look at the results to see what happens. It turns out I wrote it incorrectly again, so I'll need to fix that. If we write it out, we see that age has been added to both variable a and variable b. To prevent this from happening, we also specify it in our brackets and use the spread operator. That is, we spread our variable a inside the brackets of variable b, and we see that only in our b does our age appear. This is because we are working by reference here. In this case, we are simply passing our direct reference. Here we are creating a new reference, or rather a new memory cell where we store our additional fields, which we then work with further. That's basically it. So we've looked at how args kwargs works. It's important to understand that args and kwargs are really just a convention. In reality, we're talking about a single asterisk and double asterisks. These are more like unpacking operators, unpacking a list, and unpacking a dictionary. We can also use these operators to accept values as function parameters. With a single asterisk, we can accept regular parameters separated by commas, while with double asterisks, we can accept not positional, but rather named arguments with their corresponding keys and values. That's basically it. We've covered what args and kwargs are. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and tell your friends. Thank you.